Let's have a kind conversation and let me know what you think. I support your freedom to eat the diet that you feel is right for you. What I have a problem with is the misinformation that all farming is bad for the environment and that it's wrong to eat animals. And I think this moral shaming of eating meat comes from a lack of understanding that there is no deathless diet and that creatures die in the cultivation of plant-based foods as well. So I'm going to place a quote here from the farmer who inspired the Netflix documentary The Biggest Little Farm, in which he talks about the amount of gophers that are killed in the cultivation of avocados and other stone fruit. And for me, this is just a really big part of what is a really big picture. I don't believe that there's a realistic alternative to feeding our population that doesn't involve creatures dying for our survival. And I don't think that choosing to not eat meat is the only valid food choice you can make to express your love of animals. And that in fact, we should be supporting the very farms that are treating animals in humane ways. Because if you're washing your hands of the entire meat industry because you don't believe in factory farming, you're taking your conscientious food dollars out of the marketplace, and farms that are sustainably raising animals are going to find it harder and harder to survive, and what will be left is factory farming. So I know that the animals on this farm were given a beautiful life, and those that are raised for food, a humane death, and that is more than what most of nature has to offer. So a huge percentage of the deer population will die every year, and in brutal ways. So whether they may starve to death or they fall and break their leg and receive no medical attention, you know, they're living in a pretty constant struggle to survive, and often a state of fear that the livestock on this farm does not experience. And so I think if you're struggling with this, I can empathize with that. I was a vegetarian for almost a decade. I gave veganism a try for a short while, but I've really come to an understanding that just because something is sad doesn't mean it's wrong, and that life can be really challenging sometimes. And I've really had to face that living here on this farm. And I want to be respectful if that's your choice not to eat animals, but I want to make sure that it's an informed choice, because I think our love of animals can perhaps cloud our judgment in understanding that big picture and the unintended consequences perhaps that might have. And you know, not having cows on this planet would be catastrophic for a variety of reasons. And I think we need to ask ourselves what would happen to this livestock if it wasn't being raised for the animal products that they produce. And you know, who would be supplying the land for these animals, the money it takes to feed them, and giving of their time. And so I think what we need to focus on is sustainably raising animals and supporting those farms who are demonstrating those practices. So thanks for listening.